This podcast is sponsored by Frog Eyes Incorporated. Need ingredients for your latest potion, oil, elixir, ointment, filter, tincture, or tonic? Frog Eyes has the region's widest selection of beetle stings, newt's ears, troll blood, crocodile tears, dragon thorns, fairy wings, gnatwort, horse antennae, jabberwocky breath, and cheese.
Hello, and welcome to Morrus's unofficial tabletop RPG talk. I, as always, am your host, Morrus, aka Russ, or Russ, aka Morrus, and with me is my erudite yet entertaining co-host,
Peter Coffey from the Southampton Guild of Roleplayers. Russ, has ever an absolute delight to be here.
It is, isn't it?
Absolutely.
How are you this week, Peter?
I am fantastic.
You look fantastic.
I know. Hey.
It's the hat, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
What made you start wearing top hats, I wonder?
Well, it's just like sometimes you have to dress up a little bit. I think the top hat and the white t-shirt go particularly well together.
The feather's a bit much.
Do you think? I don't know. I think...
It'd be alright if it was one feather, but you've got the entire peacock tail there. It's
Well,
Doesn't it catch the wind?
Has the peacocks will tell you if you've got it, flaunt it.
Fair enough.
Moving swiftly on.
Yes, yeah. Oh, guess what, by the way, Peter?
What?
This is episode number 24 of our podcast.
Okay, so next week will be exciting.
But
Yes.
we had an episode 0. That makes this the 25th episode of our podcast.
What?
25 episodes.
Wow, that's amazing.
That is amazing.
Oh, so long.
Yeah. Well, we started in June, so we're coming up on 6 months of podcasting.
Well, that will be 26 weeks, which will be episode 25 coming up next week.
Wow.
That
is amazing.
Yeah.
So happy birthday to us.
Yay!
Yes!
Happy half birthday.
Happy
Not
half
full birthday yet.
Yeah, okay.
We haven't got to 7 months yet, Morrissey.
Yeah, well, that'll be January.
Potentially.
Because we always said, right, when we started this, because basically we said if we can do 7 episodes,
Yes.
that would be good. If we could do 7 months,
Yes.
then we know we're really in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
And it looks like we're coming up on the 7 months, not too far off, but it looks like we're not in any danger of slowing down. So I think we are in fact in it for the long haul now. So, Peter,
Yes, Russ.
in the last week,
Yes.
what would you say has caught your eye in the world of RPGs?
The number one thing that has been catching my attention and absorbing large amounts of brain power and effort on my behalf has been a little computer game that a friend of mine recommended to me called Pathfinder Kingmaker.
Ooh, stealing my things of the week from the past.
I know, but it's like you talk about stuff you don't expect me to pay attention to, do you?
Well, no, clearly not.
It was on sale on Steam. The time seemed right. I was a bit worried because it's had a lot of reports of being immensely buggy, but I'm delighted to say that I've played for several hours now. And
I've not found that, no.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, I hadn't heard that. No, I haven't found it to be buggy at all.
No, it's like they've been working really hard on fixing it according to Steam reviews, and people seem happy with it. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a whirl.
Hello, your editor Daryl here. Early reviews for Pathfinder Kingmaker noted several bugs, which is common not only for an independent release, but also for one releasing on multiple platforms, as Pathfinder Kingmaker is available on PC, Mac, and Linux. The other big issue reported by many players is that the game seemed to assume you had at least a passing familiarity with either Pathfinder or the D20 system in general, as it didn't do a very good job of explaining how some class abilities, feats, spells, and other things worked when leveling up well enough for new players to really understand. Thanks to several new updates and patches, however, these issues seem to be resolved.
So how far in are you? How many hours? Because you tend to put in a lot more hours into computer games than I do.
It depends upon what else I'm doing, but I've probably put about 6 hours in so far.
Oh, about the same as me, probably. Then. Yeah. Okay. And you're enjoying it?
No, it's interesting to see the Pathfinder system. There's a lot of little functionalities that you have to add on to stuff.
Yeah.
It seems...
Yeah, Pathfinder is characterised by a lot of small modifiers.
There's a lot of them, and you get like a lot of stuff, just whichever...
Well, to be fair, D&D always was until they came up with advantage, disadvantage.
Yeah, no. Just with the characters. I've hit level 2. I've already made like 20 choices about 4 characters.
Yeah.
Which is a lot more choice than I'm used to making.
Yeah, but we talked about that, about D&D recently, didn't we? And I was saying how some people complain that the number of choices you make when you level up on this stuff, it's not quite as I don't know if exciting is the word, but it's certainly there's less involvement. And you were saying how that's more of a sort of like Apple-style streamlined path you follow.
Yeah, sort of the closed garden sort of thing. Yeah, I'm finding it interesting. I don't... But also, as someone who is experienced with role-playing, but is coming to, essentially, for the first time, Pathfinder, there's a bewildering amount of stuff. They have like a little, select one of these items here. I'm like, I have no idea what the best idea is to choose for this. I'm just going to pick one that sounds cool.
Yeah, I think Pathfinder does lend itself a little more towards system mastery than 5th edition does.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And if you're a fan of that sort of thing, and obviously there are many, because Pathfinder's a popular game,
Oh, absolutely.
you know, you really can sort of delve into that and start, you know, tweaking dials and bolts and, you know...
Oh, I could also see how if you did have sufficient system mastery in creating a perfectly interesting, valid, and, you know, well put together character, you would also make something that was just so much better than everything at the table. Just because the possibility for finding like local optimizations is so much higher because there's so much space.
It's not that bad in my experience. I mean, there is. I think there is a bit of that in there, but not to the sort of game breaking extent that maybe you're implying now. Is just you would. I think you would notice it at the table. I'd say.
Yeah,
but I don't think it would break your game.
And certainly has levels progress.
Oh, certainly as you get to the higher levels, it gets a bit.
It's going to have a multiplicative effect. So yeah, but that's been very eye-opening for me. I have been enjoying myself largely because one of the joys of computer role-playing games is you don't have to know the rules.
Well, there is that. It does it for you.
Yeah.
What you have to do is know how to click on things.
I know, and that level of system
mastery. Pictures.
That level of system mastery, I have managed to complete.
Fair enough.
So Russ, that's my thing that's caught my eye, which had previously caught your eye. What thing has caught your eye?
The thing that's caught my eye is a funny little thing called a loading screen tips.
Okay, I'm interested.
So these are, you know, when you get on computer games, you get a loading screen and you might get a little tip for the computer game you're on. Yeah. Someone's put together a whole bunch of D&D ones. And there's about...
And you whack them on the GM screen?
I suppose you could put them on the GM screen.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So there's about 100 odd of them, I think, and most of them are just sort of like little rules tips, like just telling you how something works.
Yeah.
And so I was looking through them, and it tells you a little loading screen tip about what advantage means, or what cover gives you, or stuff like that. Fine, that's all very well, interesting, possibly useful. Yeah, but the ones I did like were the interspersed funny ones. So not many of them. There's only sort of like a dozen or so sort of humorous ones, but I wrote down some of them.
Yeah.
I mean, when I say funny, you're not going to fall over laughing, but, you know, you might get a wry smile.
Well, I'll make sure I'm sitting down, just to minimise any potential injury.
You are sitting down?
I know, it's good, isn't it? That's why I'm making sure I'm sitting down.
All right, then.
If I suddenly stood up in excitement at the exciting tips that you were telling me, I might fall down.
So tip number one.
Tip number one.
Winning combat is easy. All you have to do is reduce your opponents to 0 hit points or keeping your hit points above 0. Simple when you think about it like that, isn't it?
Yeah, to be fair, it is something that you do have to keep in mind.
Here's one that might disturb you slightly.
Yes.
It is entirely valid to take a potion orally or as a suppository.
Okay.
Your face fell.
Yeah, something like that.
According to monster opticians,
yes,
a beholder's eyesight is 20/20, 20/20, 20/20, 20/20, 20/20, 14.
Okay.
No, please, roll to seduce an NPC. Your DM is super excited to roleplay that.
Okay, yeah.
And there's more of them. I won't.
Marvellous.
But yeah, I'll stick a link in the show notes to that. But it is quite funny.
No, it sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, I had heard of a similar idea of someone, which was they had like sort of loading screen tips. So it was like a little piece of paper with such tip written on it. Mm-hmm. They whack it on top of the GM screen.
Yeah.
Whilst they're busy doing a bit of admin and fiddling stuff around, so players have something to look at, laugh, or learn. Anyway, that's enough of that. Oh, can we do the news?
Do we have to?
Is it that we talk about Django for the next hour or so?
We could do that.
I'm down.
All right, let's do the news then.
Oh, very well then.
Let us do the news. Okay. Mm-hmm. Tactical maps reincarnated.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
So this is from Wizards of the Coast.
Of course.
And it includes 20 full-colour, tactical-sized poster maps ready for use on the table straight away.
Nice.
And these are reprinted from sort of 3rd and 4th edition adventures like Tomb of Horrors, the Book of Vile Darkness, Fields of Ruin, Dungeon Master's Kit, it says here.
Okay.
Vaults of the Underdark, Red Hand of Doom, stuff like that. It's due out February 2019 for about $25.
Okay. And what do you get? Because, I mean, maps, sure.
You get 20 full-colour tactical-sized poster maps.
Oh, okay, they're poster maps. Oh, right. So
It's almost like I said it, but you weren't paying attention.
Well, I missed the full-size poster bit.
Okay.
So it's like, what, poster paper? They're not...
I don't know what paper
vinyl.
they're made of. I couldn't tell you. I mean,
it can't be that much if it's like $25 a go sort of thing.
yeah, because the Pathfinder flip mats are
Yep.
sort of, half that for a single map.
Yeah.
But they're made of quite sort of, they're dry erase sort of, I don't know what material that is.
Yeah, they're sort
You
of
know
a
what I mean?
vinyl mats. Yeah.
They're not vinyl, but they're coated paper,
Yeah.
I think. Or
Okay.
something.
Yeah, it's like quite like a battle mat.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, they're sort of like a bit like linoleum. The ones I'm thinking of. Could be wrong.
No.
Okay.
Do you remember I mentioned the annual most anticipated RPG poll?
Oh yes, yeah.
So all the nominations came in.
And this is on ianworld.org.
Yes. So there were about 60 somewhere between 55 and 60 games nominated.
That's right.
Pretty much anything you can think of that is or may be coming out in 2019, including a lot of games I'd never heard of.
Fantastic. It's amazing to see the hobby so vibrant.
Yeah. So the poll's now live. Actually, it's been live for about a week, to be honest. It went live last week. And it runs until Tuesday, December the 4th.
Ooh.
It's had over 1,000 voters already so far.
Yep.
You can vote for as many titles as you like, and we'll talk about the winners in December, which is very soon, actually. So, next month sometime.
Sounds
just
amazing.
go through the top 10.
Yeah, well, maybe we should talk about the winners once the poll's finished.
Well, yes, that's probably helps, doesn't it? But the winner last year was Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition.
Yes, that was hotly anticipated.
Yeah. So there's these have been available for a while on Gale Force 9's website, and apparently they hit local game stores recently.
Spell cards and stuff like that.
Yeah, monster and magic item cards. These are.
Ooh, okay.
So they've been around for a little bit, but they haven't been on Amazon, and they've just popped up on Amazon. But with a release date of February 2019. So if you want them now, head on down to your local game store, or go to Gale Force 9's website. If you want them from Amazon, you have to wait till February 2019.
Sounds like a bit of a no-brainer to me.
So there's 3 sets. So the first one is a set of D&D monster cards, which contains 179 laminated cards with a challenge rating 0 to 5.
Oh, exciting.
On one side of it is game stats, the other side is art.
Brilliant, yeah.
The second set is challenge rating 6 to 16 monster cards, although only 74 of them this time.
Well, there are less monsters
I
at
guess.
our end.
But that's a significantly 179 versus 74.
And you've probably got, like, extra space that they
Well, there's some
use
special
for-
double-sized cards with some of the more powerful or complex creatures on those.
Yeah.
And then finally, we've got magic item cards. So
nice.
294 cards for this set.
Yeah, that
With
sounds about
magical
right.
weapons and armour and other wondrous items. and
Potions,
stuff
lotions,
like
staffs,
that.
staves, wands, circlets, necklets, necklaces.
Suppositories.
Yeah, don't forget the magical suppositories. That's obviously that joke will never die.
Not anymore, it won't, no.
So we've got lots of stuff coming out for 5th and so forth, well supported as ever. In fact, I think there's a certain 5th Ed hotly anticipated product which we've been looking forward to for ages, and which has I see is on the table.
Well, I guess that's it for the news then. Yeah.
Okay,
That's quick. Short and sweet.
let's play our favourite game in all the world.
All right then, let's play our favourite game in all the world. So I just want to do a quick little shout out to our new columnist who has taken over from Angus as the Kickstarter Roundup columnist.
Well, Angus does seem like he's a busy man at Board Game Guru.
Yeah. So our new Kickstarter columnist is Egg Embry.
Egg Embry.
That's his name, Egg Embry.
Okay. And there
You're looking at me like you don't believe that's his name.
Well, what can I say? There I've been slandering wizards for giving NPCs a bad name. It turns out that there are actually people called Egg, and Carl. And who was I to? What have I been? What kind of linguistic prescriptivism have I been practicing?
Anyway.
I apologise, Egg, on air for making fun of your name.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
That's just mean.
It's a perfectly reasonable name,
You're not a very
especially
nice
coming
person.
from someone called Coffee.
You don't even spell coffee right either. That's the
I
worst
know,
bit.
right? It's all over the shop. It's brilliant.
Okay then, let's play our favourite game in all the world, the game where I read out the name of a Kickstarter and you try and guess what it is from just the name.
It's the best title ever.
And the best game ever.
Woo!
Okay then.
Yes.
Shall we commence? Let's start with...
Oh, the best game ever. I know that one. That was by, I think, Monty Cook Games or something, and it's all about lots of GMing advice on how to run games. But our Kickstarter's finished, I was pretty sure.
It's a good joke.
I see, now I have something to reply to the suppositories with.
Oh dear. So, the first one is...
Yes?
1,000 arrows.
1,000 arrows?
Not 999 arrows.
No.
Not 1,001 arrows. Exactly 1,000 arrows.
That's a lot of arrows. That's like 50 quivers worth. Wow. I think a Japanese RPG.
Okay.
Some sort of samurai sort of thing. That sounds good. But I'm not entirely satisfied with that answer. It seems a bit facile. So instead, I will swerve from the path of potentially being correct and say instead, it's 1,000 arrows, as in it's 1,000 plot seeds for RPGs.
Okay then. Well, unfortunately, you have scored
Yes?
minus 5,000 points.
Woo!
However, had you stuck with your first answer,
Yes.
you would have scored 10 points.
Yay! Out of...
10.
Oh.
So, you got it. You nailed it. So, 1,000
Yes.
arrows. 1,000 arrows, a samurai action and drama tabletop RPG.
Yeah.
It's exactly that. It's exactly what you said. But you changed your mind.
I did.
Went with the wrong answer.
I know. I personally would quite like my answer for Kickstarter. Hint, hint.
Well, there we go.
But tell me more about this original idea, because that is clearly a brilliant name if it makes me get it exactly off the top.
It is. So, powered by the apocalypse,
Of course.
16th century.
Strong.
Japan is at war.
Traditional.
Yeah, sort of Kurosawa sort of style setting.
Naturally.
You assume the characters of commanding figures in a fictional Japan parallel to our historical one.
Interesting.
So I assume that means essentially you can change history.
Or not study it at all, if such is your want. No.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's got some quite cartoony,
Ooh, okay. Oh, okay, so that's
cartoony arc.
sort of lady samurai wearing, what, padded armour? Or...
And carrying a musket.
Yeah, that is a kind of weapon.
Yeah.
I like the hat, though. That's pretty strong.
Good
But yeah,
hat,
it's a very distinctive style, really. It's not traditional anime, I'd have said. It looks like it belongs to a school of art, but sadly I am too ignorant to be able to tell you which one it is.
Well, this Kickstarter ends on Friday, so yeah, if you're interested, get in on there quickly. Okay, what is this one?
Yes?
5TDM.
5TDM.
Thing is, 5TDM
Yes.
it's 5TDM colon.
Yeah. And then
Then-
the colon explains what
Then the
5TDM.
words are what they stand for. So
Okay, but I want a point multiplier if I get it right, because that's quite hard. You have four symbols, 4 letters, well, numbers and letters. Enjoy. Tell us
but I'll
what
give
it
you
means.
extra points if your answer is interesting in the sort of quite interesting kind of style. Like
So-
1 extra point.
I'm going to shoot from the hip and say straight away that DM is going to be Dungeon Master. Now, what does that let me infer about 5T? Well, if we do say Dungeon Master, then that's probably more specifically going to be the fantasy genre rather than other. Is it the number 5, yeah? Okay. Well, interestingly, the number 5 doesn't generally carry a lot of significance. That would be numbers 3 and 7. So that rules out a fairy tale reference for me. You've got Legend of the Five Rings, but they wouldn't have DMs because they're a separate intellectual property. So I'm thinking... it's always a safe bet going with Fifth Ed because they're just producing so much stuff at the moment, as are third-party publishers. So that leaves me with the interesting problem of, like, is the 5 to do with Fifth Ed? Then what then does the T? Because the most prosaic answer is it's something like Fifth Ed tabletop DMing, so some sort of advice guide for DMs on how to do it, but that sounds a bit I mean, that could be good, but depending on who did it, it could be a bit dull. Can I make it more interesting?
Do you give up?
I'm thinking. No, go on. What is it?
It is
Yes.
5th edition
Yes.
Team Deathmatch. You were never going to get that, were you?
Seems unlikely. From the expanded clue, it sounds like a Kickstarter for rules for a bit like the RPG sports idea, where you have like how to set up tournament style play between teams of 5th ed PCs, presumably with some sort of interesting arena style floor to do it on. So like Quake Deathmatch, if Quake was really, really slow.
Yeah, so a team-based PvP competitive tabletop arena. An action RPG about strengthening the bonds you already have with the friends in your gaming. I don't know what that means. But, yeah, so small groups of player characters are pitted against each other in a no-holds-barred frenzy of carnage in a team-based player versus player competition.
So it's taking a very cooperative team-based game, and we're making it entirely team.
So this seems to be a bit of a fashion at the moment, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. I'm like, okay.
So this game, they say that the game is finished. Then they are running the Kickstarter game to raise funds for editing, layout, art, and printing. So
okay.
So it's not finished then. It's the opposite of finished.
We've totally finished, except for the bits that make it a product. No, sorry. We're being cruel. Who's producing this Thing of Wonder?
So this is by Defy Danger, and it's a 100-plus page book, 20 original maps, custom rules for competitive team versus team play, a strategy guide, a guide to running your own matches, and a guide to running tournaments.
Fantastic. Well, not for me personally, but I wish them every success.
Okay then. The next one. Necrotopia, Handbook to the Apocalypse, Book 1.
Ooh, interesting stuff. So, necro from, I think it's the Greek, could be Roman, I don't know, not great. Telling the difference between the two, meaning death. Antopia referring to either utopia or dystopia, as in a perfect civilization or not. So, a civilization about death. And what was it?
Necrotopia, Handbook to the Apocalypse, Book 1.
Okay, so setting ourselves up for Civilization of the Dead. Potentially, I'm hoping this isn't the answer, some sort of like post-zombie world, but I'm not getting that from Necrotopia really. So I'm hoping that's not the answer because that would be boring. So what I'm really hoping for is there's some sort of, it's a setting book and there's like been some sort of fantasy apocalypse that has hit or is in the process of being unavoidable, that is wrecking everything and causing the undead to be massively in play. I personally would be interested in saying, so what if we had undead as slave labour? Well, they wouldn't really be slave labour, it would be just like has a sort of counter, sort of a magical technology equivalent. Sort of like the Romans threw more slaves at the problem, but instead we're like, need a bigger hole, throw a couple more zombies down there, they'll crack on and do it. And like exploring the ramifications of that. So I guess maybe new system and setting. How am I doing?
I'm going to give you 7 points out of 1 million.
Ooh. Okay.
And that is only for identifying that the word necro means dead. Because everything else was wrong.
Oh, okay. So
although
not about a civilization of the dead.
Well, no? you started off sticking around. You started off in a kind of veering towards the right answer, and then, as you often do, you taught yourself out of it and went off on a complete tangent that was completely incorrect.
Yeah,
but if you stuck with your first idea, you'd have. I think you might have gotten that.
It's about the Kickstarter I want it to be.
Well, so it's an apocalyptic RPG.
Yes.
This is a good bit though. Mm-hmm. You battle through multiple apocalypses.
Yay!
Apocalypse.
Apocalypso. Cha 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 cha.
Yes. So it's also ice cream, isn't it?
No, that's Acalypso. The Apocalypso, you don't want to buy that in the shops. You open it and then that's it. Zombies, plagues.
The ice cream man calls up. Have an Apocalypso, please.
And the sky darkens, there's a crack of thunder, and you get one of those cool Ghostbuster style, like, whirling funnels up to the sky. And you're like, oh dear.
I just want to clarify that this is not an ice cream.
It's not an ice cream.
Though I wish it was.
Well, probably melt by the time you got it in the post, to be fair.
Possibly. Well, it depends. If you had one of those icy apocalypses. Isn't that the...
That was very big in the 70s.
Well, that's the Scandinavian...
Sort of the Hellfrost, Ragnarok.
Yeah, that's icy themed, isn't it?
It seems likely.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is an apocalyptic RPG.
Yes.
You battle through multiple apocalypses using a D6 game system. You create a character in 5 minutes, play a session in 1 hour.
So it is a new setting and system.
Yes.
Fantastic.
It's a 30-page standalone rule set book.
Ooh.
And then it will be expanded with more campaign books afterwards.
Okay. So you're just going through multiple times of the world. But does it say how many?
So each time you play it is a different apocalypse. So this one says a sample of the story from the first book. They're only 30-page books.
Yeah.
So this one, it begins with sparks of an invasion of demonic and interdimensional forces attacking Earth. A battle between heaven and hell brewing, and you and your friends are caught in the middle.
Okay.
So that's the first book.
Yeah.
And then presumably other sequels, I guess, will be totally different apocalypses that you can play through.
So, and this is obviously revealing my shocking ignorance. Why is it called Necrotopia?
Necrotopia is the role-playing game. Well, it's the name of the game.
Okay.
He calls it
Is
the
it
Necrotopia universe.
Is it based off something? Is
No,
there an
not as
IP
far as I
out
can
there,
make
actually?
out. No.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough. Okay,
No,
well,
Necrotopia, yeah, I'd say it's Death City, but yeah.
yeah. Well, that'd be a necropolis, wouldn't it?
No, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks quite interesting.
Yeah. I could see that being fun.
Yeah.
But it does need a bit of explanation. You can't just get it from the title.
I want for our next one to do this one, but I know that it was mentioned by, I think it was Grant, a couple of weeks ago on our podcast.
Okay.
So I can't do it. But I'm just going to mention it again, just because I like the idea of it.
Yeah.
But we can't really play with this one, is Never Going Home. Remember that one?
Not in any way.
Oh, well, let's do it then. You can't remember the conversation we had about it. Let's play it. Never Going Home. What is Never Going Home?
I've had lots of conversations. I was thinking about Strata. Never Going Home. But it's an interesting title because it is said that one can never go home. As in, once you've left, the experiences that you have outside of your home, city, village, town, so forth, broaden your mind and change you from people who've never left it, such that you can never truly be the same person when you come back.
Oh, God, Peter's turned into a philosopher.
Hey, it's called Never Going Home. It sounds like it's going to be a philosophical...
Philosophical.
Yay!
So I said it wrong as well.
I think that when you are talking about role-playing games, unless it's something like, I don't know, macho women ride motorcycles while shooting machine guns, leaping over the top of 50 buses, then a certain amount of philosophy does need to be in there.
Talk for yourself.
And it's called Never Going Home. So it is called Never Going Home, isn't it?
It is called Never Going Home.
Okay, just thought I'd check that. Getting the title wrong is pretty embarrassing. So
And also lessens your odds of winning the game.
substantially. Oh yeah, I guess it sounds like... Well, if Grant mentioned it, that was actually a fairly big clue, because it's not going to be any sort of crunchy, rules-heavy system. It's going to be a really storytelling-based game, because as improv, has prep light as you can manage, has improv heavy as you could wish for, and it's going to be about stories about people who've been to places and aren't coming back. So yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to say probably fantasy.
You're going to remember this when I tell you what it is.
It could happen.
Never Going Home, World War occult role-playing. You don't remember having this conversation?
You think I would? I was there.
you think that, but apparently you do not.
Super wrong.
Okay, so you got minus 10 billion points for that, because not only did you get it wrong, you also knew it and you got it wrong.
I think it's been said in front of me before. I don't think that counts as me knowing it.
Never Going Home refers to World War One.
Okay.
And it's a simple and easy to learn rules set based on the compass system. It explains the rule set here. I'm not going to describe it because that's just boring podcasting. But it's inspired by the World War occult art of Charles Ferguson Avery. horror-haunted trenches march you through the terror-torn battlefields of the First World War. Oh dear. Create a soldier, choose your whispers, join your fellow survivors, fight for your lives and protect your humanity as long as you can. You are never going home.
Well, that sounds cheery.
Yeah, that does sound quite unpleasant. In a good way.
Yeah, I can see if you like that sort of thing, and if you're in the right mood for it, that could be an excellent role-playing experience. But I think probably I filed that under things I am never going to play.
Fair enough.
So that's probably why I've no memory of it. But it's very interesting all the same, and not everyone likes the same stuff. So if that does sound like your jam, it does sound like it's going to be an excellent implementation of that. You should totally get on that Kickstarter. Do we know when it ends?
We do, but I've scrolled way away from it now.
Way away from it.
December the 3rd.
December the 3rd. Okay, well, you've still just got time to get in there.
About a week left, yeah.
Absolutely.
Your editor, Daryl, popping in here because I think the guys did bury the lead a little bit on Never Going Home, as one of the best things about this game is one of the mechanics. In the game, players have cards that they trade in to level up abilities or power spells, get advantages for rolls, things like that. But each of the card also represents some memory of your life back home. So you have to literally give up part of your past in order to survive the horrors of the battlefield. And if that's not an absolutely amazing metaphor within the actual game design, I don't know what is. Anyway, the link to the campaign is in the show notes if you're interested.
Anyway, I think that is the end of our favourite game in all the world.
Boos. Never mind.
You did quite well this time.
Happens.
Apart from the bits where you didn't.
Yeah, well, yeah. What can I say? I'm in a good mood. Right.
Fair enough. Thank you for calling the Adventurers Helpline. How may I help you today?
Is this the missing persons hotline?
No, ma'am. This is the Adventurers Helpline.
Well, our fighter is missing, and we're just outside the chamber of moderately speakable horror, planning for the final boss fight of the dungeon.
That sounds inconvenient. According to our records, the Chamber of Moderately Speakable Horror is suitable for 4 6th level PCs. And you say you're down to 3.
Yes, he's quite a... Oh, no, wait, there he is, he's back.
Sorry?
He's back. He's just suddenly appeared again.
How long was he missing for?
Oh, I'd say just under 10 minutes, maybe closer to 5.
Right. And is this the first time this has happened?
No, he tends to vanish at random times with no warning, and then he reappears a few minutes later. It's really weird.
And how often would you say this happens?
Oh, about once an hour, give or take. No warning, he just vanishes. Often in mid-battle or mid-sentence. Do you think he might be cursed?
Yes, in a sense. I know what's going on here. Your fighter's player is popping out for a cigarette break at semi-regular intervals.
The fighter's what now?
Never mind. Anyhow, there's not much you can do about it, being a fictional player character subject to the whims of the real world. However, now you can predict when your fighter is going to disappear and plan your big battles accordingly.
I don't know what that means. I'll just chalk it down to a curse, okay?
It's probably easiest to think about it like that. Anyhow, thank you for calling the Adventurers Helpline. Don't forget to complete the survey after the call. So, Peter.
Yes, Rex.
I've got a book.
So, you got many books?
I do have many books, but I have one particular book.
Is it just red?
I have that, but that is not the book about which I am referring at this moment.
Oh, what book do you have?
I have the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica for D&D 5th edition.
Screaming noises
Here
in
it
the
is.
headspine. Yes.
It's very shiny.
So shiny.
So shiny, yes. Yes. So, first things first.
I should totally take some pictures of that and put them on the Facebook page for the podcast.
Well, that as well. But we do need to do the important part of this discussion.
We do. For
Priorities.
science.
So, science. Let's
Yeah.
find out how much this book weighs. Would you like to do the honours or should I?
Oh, please, if you'd like to put it on the scales.
Oh, wait, I've got to go and find my white coat first.
Oh, it's all right. As long as you're wearing iPro, it's okay.
All right.
Hey, goggles on, people.
Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, placed upon the scales.
Oh.
Wow, look at that. 922 of your Earth grams.
Fantastic. What's that in Jovian grams?
something like 10,000 times that. I don't know.
Okay. Just weighing it for the third time, just to confirm that our scales are accurate. As far as we can make out, it does weigh 922 grams.
It does.
That is a bit lighter than the Mad Mage, and it does feel lighter when you're holding it.
Yes, it's a much smaller. Well, not much smaller. It is a smaller book.
It
However,
is.
what I will say is a much, much, much prettier book.
Oh, so gorgeous.
Do you remember last week when we were looking at Mad Mage? We both commented on the fact that it was very art light.
The artwork, where is it? It did have some, don't get us wrong.
So Mad Mage basically had one chapter heading,
half pager or quarter pager. Yeah.
sort of a third of the page maybe, for each chapter, and maybe, half dozen spot illustrations spread throughout the book.
It did have maps,
Yeah.
but the maps weren't in-character maps. They were very much out-of-character utility maps.
So, yeah, I'd say in Mad Mage you're probably talking about an art piece every 20 pages or so.
If that, yeah.
In this, I think you're talking an art piece more than once every 2 pages.
What?
It's not quite every page, but
Wow. And it's got some pretty...
I reckon about once every 1.5 pages. I mean, I'm just flicking through this. It is crammed with art. Like, every time you turn a page, there's a new piece of art.
If you... tell you what, have a look at the front. Can we shout out some of the illustrators?
We can shout out some of the illustrators. Oh, well, there's a lot of them. Maybe we can't, because, wow.
Okay, that's like, what, 2 paragraphs?
Yeah, there's an awful lot of illustrators.
Oh, wow.
I will say, all you illustrators, you are amazing. This book is, I think, at least in my opinion, the prettiest D&D book yet in the 5th edition line. I've been looking through it all morning, and really, it just jumps out. It's just gorgeous.
I haven't seen all the books in D&D line, but you know what? I think I agree. I'm really loving the sensibility.
Look at these maps as well. Look,
Ooh.
We've got these gorgeous sort of 3D, full colour, full page maps of each precinct.
It is labelled, but yeah, it's like it's looking down and you can see where everything's supposed to be.
This double page spread of the 10th district. Look at that! How lovely is that?
Nice.
I mean, this book is gorgeous.
Yep, but how can we describe this book for people who are like Ravnica? What is that? Because it's not just another basically Western Europe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm exciting about it just conceptually, just because it's a setting.
Yes.
A new setting. And I'm a sucker for new settings. And I know it's not a new setting, it's a Magic the Gathering one.
Yes.
But it is new to me.
Yes.
So as far as I'm concerned, this is a new setting.
New to me as well.
Exactly. I've never played Magic the Gathering. I don't know anything about the various worlds they have. So this is a new setting to me. All I know about it is what I've picked up through sort of product previews of this book.
Yes.
And now having got this book.
Absolutely. I mean, it's got what, 6 chapters?
Yeah. Yeah, so you wanted to sort of like sum it up. I mean, before we started the podcast, you used the phrase
Majopunk.
Majopunk.
Yes,
yeah, okay.
Yeah. Because it's got, to me, I feel like a really strong cyberpunk theme.
Yeah.
In part because it's an entirely urban world.
Yeah, it's like Coruscant, isn't it?
Yes, Coruscant from the Star Wars thing.
Yeah, so it's like an entire city covering an entire world.
Absolutely.
And this whole world has lots of sort of techno magic.
So much.
So it's not... they haven't got computers and they haven't got...
they don't have like digital things, but they do have like sort of... And just looking at the front cover, when you actually can see it in all its A4 glory, you can see that she's wearing the sort of thing that you would see people wandering around at a steampunk convention with.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say steampunk quite so much because it hasn't quite got the fashion side. It's got the top hats and the goggles and all that sort of stuff.
Not telling the full Victorian side of things. So it's clearly not steampunk per se. It is also clearly, but you could mistake that from an electropunk drawing.
Yeah, it's just a lot of magical science, basically.
Yes, very much. Yeah. It's like thaumaturgy, has a science, putting those together.
I did also notice on one page here, you can get coffee.
I'm listening.
Have you ever seen coffee in a D&D book before?
No.
I don't know where it is exactly now, but when I was looking through it earlier, there was this little page of like things that you can order, just services and foodstuffs and stuff. There's only like 6 or 7 items on there, but one of them was a cup of coffee.
So I could go in and order a cup of coffee as opposed to a beer.
Or
an ale.
Yeah.
Or, if I was feeling fancy, a mead. Yeah.
So we should describe what this is. So Ravnica, as you mentioned, was a citywide, a worldwide city.
Controlled by guilds.
This book, however, only covers one district of that city.
Yes, that's right.
So
Divided
this
into, what, 10 precincts?
is divided into 10 precincts, which they've got great names as well. The first precinct is called Precinct 1.
Nice.
Second precinct has got an even better name. Guess what it's called? It's called
Precinct
Precinct 2.
What?
Wow. But yeah, you're going to love the third precinct. It's called...
Yeah, I'm ready.
Precinct 3.
What?
These are amazing, aren't they?
Evocative.
Yeah,
That's what that is.
yeah.
But that speaks of almost like a scientific sort of turn of mind.
Maybe, yeah. So it's divided into, it's only 6 precincts, sorry. There's 10 districts.
10 districts, sorry.
There's 6 precincts.
Right.
So the districts are called the first district, the second district, the third district. The 10th district is the book that this book is about.
I think we should say there's probably at least 10 districts. Does that make sense?
Yes, I suppose so, yes.
Yeah, and this is just like, it's not like the first district and second district, but it's in the top 10 of districts that they have in Ravnica.
So it's a very, very structured setting. So you've got these numbered districts, these numbered precincts, and then you've got exactly 10 guilds, and it's all very regimented and sort of outlined and stuff.
Which is absolutely fascinating. And that's, Ken, is why I'm going with Major Punk, because compare and contrast with your traditional cyberpunk themes of a dystopia of massive urbanisation, lack of nature, non-elected governments being in control, which obviously the fantasy genre, we're like, oh, well, it's a king, but it's generally assumed that kings are benevolent as opposed to the biggest armed person on the block with a selection of armed persons working for them. So
isn't that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? The biggest armed person on the block.
You heard it here first. Dwayne Johnson for king. He's got my vote, which is sort of the point about what I'm trying to make, which is that you've got a civilization. It's not working on the same themes and assumptions as your traditional D&D. The world is not old. Or it might be, but that's not the relevance.
It's at least 10,000 years old.
Yeah, but that's not that old. We've got like 50,000 years of recorded human history. Just for
It's still quite old.
Well, we don't have.
Well, it says more than 10,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So obviously, Ravnica existed before that. But so 10,000 years ago, the world of Ravnica, there was this big old war.
Yes.
And everyone had a bit of a scuffle and a bit of a fight.
Bit of barney,
and stuff. And there were 10 armies. It's all this regimented. There's 10 of these. So 10 armies, they battled for control of the world.
Yes.
At the end of this conflict, it ended. There was this magical contract signed.
Yes.
And it was a really powerful contract, and it's called the Guild Pact.
Yes.
And this Guild Pact, and the leaders of each of the 10 armies,
Yes.
they all signed it, and they were the first Guildmasters of Ravnica.
Maybe there is only 10 districts.
Yeah, maybe. Well, it does say the guilds don't relate to the districts. They're not geographically. They're present in all districts. But,
absolutely.
But anyway, so the Guild Pact sort of defined the roles of the 10 guilds.
Yes.
And not only did it define them, it also magically enforced them.
Nice.
So it's like magically enforced laws.
Well, you'd have to really, because you can't trust them. They're all like well-shonky people.
Yeah. So that was kind of like the beginning of the sort of modern Ravnican calendar. And sort of like for 10,000 years, the cities sort of flowered, the world flourished and stuff. But then the pact was broken.
Bum, bum, bum.
And this sort of balance was like thrown apart and stuff. And there was like chaos everywhere, all this sort of stuff, and this chaos went on for a while, and eventually the guilds kind of reasserted themselves. But when this happened, the magical force of the Guild Pact had gone away.
Oh, okay.
So instead of having this sort of overall magical sort of contract binding them,
It's sort of a Pax Guild Manica or something.
it was more of an uneasy balance of power instead that was like keeping things in order.
That sounds super stable. We remember how balance of powers work.
It does sound fun. It does sound great. So there was a contingency plan that would take effect if the Guild Pact was broken.
Okay.
And there's this ley lines all over Ravnica, and it's called the Implicit Maze. And
Okay.
if the guilds could cooperate to solve the maze, they would be able to sort of create a new Guild Pact.
Oh, okay.
And that eventually happened, and that power was sort of incarnated in the person of a guy called Jace Beleren, who I'm going to call Jason from now on.
Your editor Daryl here literally face palming. For all you Magic the Gathering fans upset about calling one of the most iconic planeswalkers by the wrong name, please remember to send your angry emails to morrispodcast@gmail.com, or you can post to our Facebook group, which is linked in the show notes. I just want to say I had absolutely nothing to do with this.
So he became the living guild pact.
Absolutely.
And so his word becomes a binding law of Ravnica. Not just because everyone obeys it, but it magically becomes unbreakable law. So all he has to do is say something, that becomes law, and it's magically unbreakable.
I know. I'm sorry, Russ. I'm just still laughing at the fact he's called Jason Bellend.
Well, the problem with Jason Bellend is he's a planeswalker.
Right.
And he doesn't hang around Ravnica very much.
So Planeswalker, presumably he likes to get out and fresh air, get lots of exercise.
Yeah.
Is that what you're telling me?
He spends extended periods of... This is a really bad setup, actually. So the guy who is basically the person who creates and enforces all the laws basically spends most of his time on holiday.
Obviously, there's a certain amount of political humour that could be made at this point.
When he's not there...
That seems rude.
So when he's not there, Ravnica sort of has to fend for itself because the power... which is binding everyone, is gone. And so the guilds end up fighting with each other again while he's not there until he comes back and sort of establishes order again. And these conflicts kind of erupt in a variety of forms. They'll like clash in the streets, or they'll do espionage against each other, or they'll do all sorts of different, random guildy stuff. And stuff like that. And so it's like this precarious piece which is like hanging in the balance with all these 10 guilds kind of... with this power struggle constantly going on.
Do you know what this sounds like a lot to me?
What does it sound like?
It sounds like D&D is traditionally set in a sort of a pseudo-medieval world. This sounds like it's set in a pseudo-ancient world. Because if you think about it, ancient Rome, ancient China, like these places had absolutely huge armies, massively complex systems. Then, for whatever reason, it all goes sideways, and it becomes like we essentially start living in the Dark Ages, where there's like lots of ruins and civilization.
I found you a cup of coffee. Cup of coffee, 10 copper pieces. Newspaper, 15 copper pieces. Pendulum clock, 100 to 250 gold pieces. Spectacles, 25 gold pieces. And a spyglass, 50 to 100 gold pieces.
And the cosmopolitan convenience.
Yes. Yeah.
That is pretty strong. It's very much setting out a very different flavour. You're not going to be out in the forest stabbing some goblins or in a hole stabbing some goblins. Why do goblins always get stabbed?
So the book...
Poor goblins.
So the book sort of... Right, so you start off with a sort of overall welcoming chapter.
Yes.
Then you get a character creation chapter.
Yes.
And that is mainly about the new races.
Yeah.
So we've got centaurs, or if you're American, centaurs. Goblins.
Controversial.
Loxodons, which are those elephant guys.
They are.
Minotaurs, or if you're American, minotaurs. That's how they say it.
Russ, please stop trolling the American listeners. They don't like it.
They can't talk.
Like you want to... Incoherent rage and sputtering noises erupted from Peter. Anyway.
The Simic hybrids.
Yes.
And the Vedalkans.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple of sort of subclasses and classes sort of related, subclasses and backgrounds and stuff related to the guilds themselves.
So the Simic hybrids, they're sort of a mix of human/elf and some sort of animal. With varying different options, yeah?
Yeah. I think we've covered these before, actually, I think, in a previous podcast, didn't we?
We've talked about them, yeah. I mean, Loxodons, they sound like they've been much improved. But actually, that's not the thing I'm most excited about in this book.
What is the thing you're most excited about? Is it the way it tastes when you lick it?
No. You can't prove that. What it is, it's when you start looking at the guilds, and what they have done is they've got these 10 guilds, and they're saying, well, okay, if you're playing a character of this class and or subclass, this is where you're likely to be found. So if you're playing in, like, say, Boris, you're likely to be a war wizard.
But do you want to know what they do? It's even more fun than that. There's a flowchart, and you answer questions, and it tells you what guild you should be in. Do you want to try it?
I would absolutely love to do that.
So it's called "What's Important to Me" is the flowchart. Oh, you're taking a picture of it. Okay, got it.
Yes.
Right. So I'm gonna ask you the questions. We'll go through it.
Yes.
And find out what guild you're going to end up being in.
Yay!
So, first of all, what's important to me? So you've got to choose between 3 options here.
Okay. Option 1.
Nature and science. is option number 1.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Option number 2, learning other people's secrets and keeping my own.
Ooh.
And option number 3 is society and community.
Oh, that's toughy. For my character, I'd like to say learning other people's secrets and keeping my
I knew
own.
you were going to say that. Do you know how I knew you were going to say that?
Was it my reaction?
No, it was because on this flowchart, the other 2 lead on to all these different options. This one just has one thing coming out of it. House Dimir, done. So choose one of the other 2, otherwise the game ends too quickly.
Nature and science.
Nature and science. Okay, the next question then. Where would you rather spend your time? In the laboratory, not the lavatory, lavatory? The laboratory, or in nature with the growing things?
I'm going to say in nature with the growing things.
Okay.
I spent enough real life time in the laboratory.
Okay. So the next question is, doing what? Building a peaceful community in harmony with nature, or clearing away the edifices of a civilization so nature can grow again?
I guess from a role-playing point of view, I'm going to go with clearing away edifices.
Then you should be in the Gruul clans. Gruul.
Okay.
There we go.
So, tell me a bit about House Nair and House Gruul.
You want to know about the Gruul clans?
Yes.
Okay. Well, why don't we go through all of the guilds very quickly then? There's certainly 10 of them, and we can do them quite quickly here.
All right. Shall we alternate between them?
All right. So I'll start with the Azorius Senate, and you can go on to the next. So Azorius Senate. So basically, this is the government with three columns: legislative, judicial, and executive branch.
Yep.
And it's under the leadership of a Sphinx Supreme Judge. And I glanced at the back of the book. That Sphinx has a CR of 26.
Shit, son. Don't mess with the Sphinx, we get wrecked.
No. The next one?
The next one up is Boris Legion. Led by the Angel Aurelia, the Boris Legion pursues the cause of justice, not merely law enforcement. Boris serves as Ravnica's standing army.
Yeah. So each of these basically has as well. So Azorius is the government.
Yes.
Boris is the army.
Yes.
So the next one, House Dimir.
Yeah.
This is basically the secrets, the investigative services.
Yes.
So it's MI6 or the CIA or whatever. So it's a business of information operating an espionage organisation behind a facade of messengers, investigators, and archivists. Its enigmatic leader, Lazav, wears many faces.
What do you mean, like literally? That sounds a bit serial killer to me.
Next one?
We've got the Golgari Swarm. An elf lich named Jared guides the Golgari Swarm's masses as they lurk in the Undercity, where they process the city's waste and see to the new life that emerges from death and
So
decay.
they're basically the sewers.
Yeah, they're basically sewer-dwelling zombie sanitation engineers.
So the next one was the one you ended up with, the Gruul clans.
Yes, yes.
This is a loose alliance led by the Cyclops Borborygymos.
Yeah, go on then.
I think. No. Borborygymos.
Borborygymos? Borborygymos?
Who knows? Who knows how you pronounce that?
Borborygymos?
I'm going to call him Jason as well. So the Cyclops Jason.
Yeah. Bob.
Bob.
Cyclops, yeah.
Raging against civilization and its defilement of the natural world.
Nice, nice.
Next one.
Okay, we've got the Izzet League, led by the dragon Niv Mizzet.
Is that a dragon?
Is it?
Is it a dragon?
I don't know, I presume so. The Izzet League is a guild of scientists and engineers. That's why they're called Izzet, because they're always asking, is it? Because they have questions to ask, who build and sustain Ravnica's infrastructure while conducting wild experiments in magic. Efforts that usually involve barely controlled elemental energy.
Yeah.
So it's perfect for your mad science needs.
Yeah. So we've got science. Yeah, but it is very much very sort of defined roles, isn't it? So we've got government, army, intelligence services, sewers.
Hey, civilization.
Random druids.
You'd want sewers.
Scientists.
Yeah.
The next one is basically the mafia, the Orzhov Syndicate. Mm-hmm. A sinister combination of church, bank, and organised crime, controlled by the Obzitat, a cabal of ancient spirits called the Ghost Council.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going for any sort of Russian thing to that at all, are they?
These next ones look nice.
Oh, the Cult of Rakdos. Demonic cult, nice. I'm sold already. Is the jester in Ravnica's culture, using satire and performance to skewer the powerful and embolden the weak. But it's a cruel and bloodthirsty jester in the manner of its demonic leader, and it supplements parody and levity with blood and fire. So it's basically a bunch of clowns that will set your house on fire.
It's basically Have I Got News for You with added fire.
Have I got news for you if it was armed? And yes. Yeah.
The next one, the Selesnya Conclave. So there's 3 dryads who are fused together with each other and also with Mat Selesnya, which is a manifestation of the soul of the world.
We really should have read this to make sure someone had good names to pronounce. I feel a bit sorry for you.
Okay, you can do the last one. There you go.
The Simic Combine. Under the leadership of Prime Speaker Zagana, the biomancers of the Simic Combine apply magic to the life sciences, striving to create a harmonious future where creatures of all kinds are perfectly adapted to their ever-changing environment. The Simic magically hasten the process of evolution and adaptation of life.
So there we go. So that is 10 guilds. We have government, army, intelligence services, sewers, druids, scientists, mafia,
mad scientists,
mafia. Have I got news for you, Colt?
I don't know, satirists.
3 dryads and biomancers of the 10 guilds.
The 3 dryads thing, I
don't quite get that one.
Yeah.
They seek to bring nature and the city into balance.
Well, I think they're onto a bit of a loser, really, if it's a world-covering city, but fair enough.
Don't know about that. Anyway, that's the 10 guilds. So you choose one of those guilds, and the guild that you choose... from the looks of it, you get a special background available to you, and also they have special spells and various things related to it. So there's a whole chapter on the guilds, which is 29 to 93. How many? 70 odd pages nearly.
That is a fair amount of verbiage.
Yeah. So each guild probably gets around 7 pages or so there. Look, and you get information on the guild itself.
Yeah.
You get information on a unique background and these sort of special spells related to that guild.
Nice. I think they have got a unique location for each of the guilds that you can draw upon to do stuff with.
Yeah. So the next chapter then, it deals with the 10th district. Ooh. Which is the district this book focuses on, because it doesn't cover the entire world, it just covers that one district.
That would be a weightier book.
That would be a much bigger book.
Yeah. I think it's nice. It's sort of because this is an example district. Please feel free to set it in a different district.
I am liking this book.
It is very nice. As I say, the artwork is gorgeous.
So, the 10th district opens up with this double-page spread, full colour, sort of 3D map. Bloody gorgeous it is.
It is nice.
It is nice.
It's got some nice park bits, actually, to be fair. As urban planning goes, I've seen worse.
Yeah, so it's got basically 16 locations mentioned on it. But, yeah, it's a lovely full colour map. It's very nice. Yeah. And then it goes through all the different precincts. And the precincts...
Yes.
Are, as we mentioned earlier, named Precinct 1, Precinct 2, Precinct 3, Precinct 4, Precinct 5, but I bet you can't guess what the 6th precinct's called.
Precinct 6?
So, the precincts are as follows, and we can do the same thing again, and just read each one very quickly.
Yes.
Okay. So, do you want to do precinct number 1?
This is the hub of the wealthy and powerful, where courtly games and espionage play out among visitors, gawking at the impressive architecture. The precinct is also known as the Guild Pact Precinct.
Yes. Precinct 2 is the professional precinct. People live in clean and orderly neighbourhoods in the shadow of New Prague, while mob bosses coerce residents in order to enrich themselves and influence local politics.
Precinct 3, in the Greenbelt, nature has encroached into the urban environment to varying degrees, and folk here provide bountiful sustenance and domesticated beasts for most of the district.
Precinct number 4. This one's always in a state of turmoil. The scarred streets of Precinct 4 are a proving ground for soldiers and marauders alike. Visitors here had best be spoiling for a fight.
Ooh, Precinct 5. This is where the learned folk of the 10th district gather to discuss theory or to put their knowledge to practical use in the precinct's many schools, libraries and laboratories.
Precinct 6. The hard-scrabble neighbourhoods of Precinct 6. The working folk eke out a living by toiling at warehouses, docks and factories controlled by callous employers. When night comes, the residents hide indoors to avoid becoming prey to creatures that stalk the darkness.
Bum, bum, bum. So again, it feels quite similar to Waterdeep in that it's a bit of an urban location.
Well, the entire setting's an urban location.
Well, indeed. But
it's weird again, we've got this very strict division again.
Yes.
So you've got your 10 districts.
Yeah. Well, at least 10.
At least 10 districts, and then you've got your 6 precincts, and
Yeah.
you've got your 10 guilds, and each one of them is rigidly defined. So that you've got a precinct where people go to learn, and you get a precinct where people go to...
What we're saying is, right, the people doing the zoning, they're not messing around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
They're not playing.
this is
your stuff
Yeah,
here.
but that's the thing.
Get out
This
the
entire
precinct.
setting isn't just geographically zoned.
Yeah.
It's culturally zoned. It's sociologically zoned.
It is, yeah.
It's politically zoned. Everything's zoned. It's weird.
Yeah, I guess,
And numbered. Zoned and numbered as well.
you know what? I don't know if it's in here, but is potentially missing. Is also sort of class has a structure.
Well, they did mention sort of like the working folk here in Precinct 6. So it looks like that's sort of like a lower class precinct.
Yeah.
And they mentioned like the wealthy and the powerful in Precinct 1.
You've got the hierarchies and hierarchies. You've got the hierarchies in the guilds. You've got the hierarchies of how the districts relate to each other.
Yeah.
And how the individual precincts relate. Oh, does it sort of zoom in on particular precincts?
Yeah, so you get a couple of pages on each precinct there. And then you get a map of each precinct.
Nice.
As I say, this book's gorgeous, just crammed full of stuff.
Yeah,
so you get a map of each precinct individually, and then information about the precinct, people and rumours about the precinct and stuff.
Yeah, full of plot seeds and so forth.
Yeah, various landmarks.
Again, they're moving away from text boxes and so forth, but I think that's what makes sense because it's not really like an adventure per se.
It's so beautiful, this book. You know, I think why it's so beautiful, I reckon most of this art probably comes from Magic the Gathering. So to
Yes.
fill this book with art, it didn't cost them anything in extra. That's why they've got so much.
they
It's
would have
almost every
access to it.
page, isn't it? Almost every page.
Yeah.
Is so much. Then we get a chapter on creating adventures,
Nice.
which looks like it's a whole load of like random tables, like guild locations,
Yeah.
and guild villains. You know, sort of like the villain is sending agents to infiltrate one or more guilds. A villain is attempting to disgrace or discredit a powerful person.
Okay, it's got. Does it say? I guess you some guidance. You just string these together. In a
Yeah,
submission?
it looks like it. And then you got guild character objectives: find a missing guild member, kill or capture an enemy of the guild. So all the adventures are guild related there.
Yeah, so which makes a lot of sense. They've been working very hard to set these up.
Yeah.
Because faction play is something that they have been very interested.
Yeah.
Ever since Fifth Ed's come out, it's been Harper's, Emerald Alliance, Order of the Gauntlet. So this is sort of changing it.
Well, this uses the renown rules as well.
Yes. yes.
Quite heavily. But if you look at this, then you get sort of random tables for sort of like secondary guild roles and guild intrigue and cross purposes. Like the villain's activities, I don't know, threaten a character's contact or bond, cause an accident or catastrophe that traps the characters, that sort of stuff. So there's a
Nice.
lot of random generation there. And then you go into each of the guilds
Yes.
individually, and they have a bunch of sort of tables to roll sort of adventures, villains, which I presume you sort of combine together.
I mean, a question that does occur
Adventure hooks, character goals.
is: can characters play within the same guild? Are they expected to play within the same guild? Will they play from multiple guilds?
There's a section earlier in the book, and it's got a section about how you would do that with multiple guilds. Because generally speaking, the guilds do tend to be
Quite
popular
insular,
with each other.
yeah.
So, yeah.
So cross-guild cooperation would be potentially quite unusual.
Yeah. And each guild has sort of like maps of various buildings. These are black and white maps here, which is kind of unusual in this book because most of it's full of full colour stuff.
But there is a lot of full colour going on.
Yeah.
It's absolutely stunning.
Yeah. So you flip through all these, and basically this goes through each of the guilds one at a time with a map, adventure hooks, random tables, villains, all stuff like that. So after all that, they give you an adventure. So this is about 15 pages long. This adventure is called Krenko's Way, and it's designed for 4 to 6 first level adventurers.
Nice.
And basically, it's quite a simple adventure. So there's this goblin sort of mafia chief type guy. He's been in prison for a while. He was quite powerful, got caught. He's been in prison for a while, and he's just escaped. And the players are kind of tasked with finding him and capturing him.
Yeah.
So it's a short little adventure there for Krenko.
Yeah, because it's interesting. Goblins are actually PCs, so in fact, you're not going to, generally speaking, I would say, run across non-player or species that you wouldn't also meet as a player.
No, I
That
suppose
makes
not.
sense.
No.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Then we got a chapter on treasures, which is basically
yeah.
the magical items and stuff.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, we all like magical items. I did see something earlier I quite liked. Was the one I liked? That was it. The Pyro Converger.
Oh,
And Izette made flamethrower.
there we go.
Love it. That's my favourite item in here, I think. Yeah, so
By
basically...
Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, we've got flamethrowers.
So project fire in a 10-foot cone, 46 damage, save for half.
Okay.
It's quite nice. Every time you use it, you roll D10.
Yes.
Add the number of times you used it since your last long rest.
Yes.
And if you roll 11 or higher,
Yes.
it malfunctions and you take 46 fire damage.
Yay! That sounds super safe.
That does sound brilliant. I like it.
Give it
I like
to the barbarian. They've got the hit points.
So yeah, there's quite a lot of magical items in here. But then we get onto the friends and foes, so the stat box. Because we mentioned that Mad Mage had very few of them.
Yes.
This is tons. This
many
is the rest of the
stat
book now, and
Wow. Okay.
a lot of
That's
stat
like
blocks.
about a third, half of the book is stat blocks.
No,
Is it not?
quarter maybe.
Yeah, but 25% stat blocks is a solid choice.
Yeah. So
It's not all stat blocks. It's like a lot of tables,
Well,
and it's all broken down by guilds as well.
we got 78, unless I've miscounted. So between probably like 76 and 79.
About 80.
Coming up to 80 stat blocks.
Up
there.
to 80 stat blocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stat blocks. That's a mini monster manual, that.
So I was basically wrong. Here is loads of like non-player things to get into a wreck with, including things like what's that? Hybrid spies, cruel death priests.
The Battle Force Angel. That sounds like some kind of anime thing, doesn't it? It's challenge rating 5 Angel there.
Okay, yeah, you know.
Fire Main Angel. The Death Pact Angel.
I see we're under A for Angels. That'll be nice because there's a lot of D for Devil and D for Demon.
And yeah, that's all. That's all.
Again, a lot of these things we mentioned have come with a half-page about illustration.
Oh yeah, chock full of illustrations.
Yeah, I mean, we've only been raving at it for like the past hour or so, so if you're not taking home the message that there's a lot of very pretty artwork, very evocative, very interesting artwork, then
we are so easily persuaded, aren't we? Just show us a pretty picture and we're sold.
it's perfect for podcasting.
Yeah.
Which is, of course, why I'm taking some pictures, not of everything, and we'll be putting them on the Facebook page.
I like the first line of the book. From the back of her soaring rock, a sky knight surveys the spire-studded cityscape below. I think that kind of sums up Ravnica quite well.
Yeah, I think one of the things I did notice, because I was having a sneaky peek before the podcast, there is a section where they're talking about the various renown, which you did mention earlier, and one of those things is you can become a Sky Knight, where you get a Skyjet rock, and you can actually have a flying mount.
Right, so that is the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. So what would you say your takeaway is then?
I think it's different, which is a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is full of potential for politics and intrigue.
Mm-hmm.
It will definitely support, by design, the social pillar of D&D.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it will support the combat pillar of D&D. And I think it will support the exploration pillar in a way that it traditionally hasn't been supported, because there will be a lot of new stuff to find.
Well, for me, I like it because A, it looks gorgeous, but B, I love that we're getting a proper new setting.
Yeah.
For D&D.
It's pretty
And I
original.
really hope it's supported later. I mean, I hope it's not just this one book and run. I mean, like Barovia was one book and run, wasn't it? So I really hope it's supported later, because I would love to see some more settings like delved into in a bit more detail.
Yeah, this sort of semi-sci-fi or magic has technology thing is nice. I've heard a lot of things about Eberron, but I'm not very familiar with that setting. But how does it compare?
I'm not super familiar with everyone either, so I couldn't tell you. I mean, I know everyone does have sort of like magic as technology as one of its core themes. So.
And obviously there are some new classes and new stuff. You've got new races, you've also got new classes. You've got the Spore Druid and the Cleric of Order. But I wouldn't buy the book just for those. But I might well buy the book just for the rest of the stuff, because I say it's full of interesting and exciting new stuff. So as a GM, definitely one to pick up. Would you get it as a player sort of thing?
Good question, because it's a mix of player and GM, or player and DM information, isn't it? So
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, because you need it as a player to get the races just for a start.
Yeah.
You need the book for that. So yeah, as a player, you pick it up. You just have to not read the adventure, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've read but assume by the time you're thinking about buying Guildmaster's Guide to
A lot of the
Ravnica,
setting information, you assume the characters in the setting know that information. So 90% of the information in there As long as you don't read the adventure or the monster stat blocks, I think probably as a player, you pick that up. So, did we want to quickly mention our little competition then?
Our competition? Yes, we totally should.
So, we are holding a competition. As you know, dear listeners,
Yes.
we do a sketch every week. It's usually fairly short. Sometimes it's as short as for like 90 seconds or so. Sometimes it goes on for 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
But, we try to keep them quite snappy. But our competition this week is for you to write us a sketch. Doesn't have to be long.
Yes.
If we like it, we will perform it for you on the podcast.
Yep.
And, of course, we will fully credit you for your sketch.
Damn straight.
So send your sketches to morruspodcast@gmail.com. I promise you, it doesn't take long to write a sketch. Most of the ones that we've written, I've done in like under 3 minutes. So.
Does it show?
Like this week's one, I literally just sat down and typed out in, I think under a minute. So
if it's funny, we shall do it.
yeah, if it's funny, we will do it. We'll fully credit you for it, and it'll be fun, and it'll be part of the podcast.
If you want to be part of the podcast, it's the way forward.
Yeah. So morruspodcast@gmail.com. Send in your sketches, and we will perform them for you. A couple of rules. There's only 2 of us.
It's true.
So write it for 2 people.
I can try and do a funny voice, but it will be me.
You can poke fun at things. Try not to be mean.
Yes. Be kind.
And that's basically it. And try to keep it PG, please.
And otherwise, we'll have to edit it, and then it won't be as good.
Yeah, that's the competition for this week. Send in your sketches, and if we like them, we shall perform them for you.
Right.
I think that's it for the week then.
I think it is.
So shall we wrap this up?
Yes, let's wrap it like a Christmas present.
All right then. Can I just please remind you to please support our Patreon? Just chuck in $1 a month or something, because every penny helps.
Yes. We absolutely love it. We'd love to keep on doing this podcast, but there's bills to pay. So
to find that, go to patreon.com/Morrus.
Yes. We look forward to your support. Thank you so much.
So that's it for this week. So until next week, thank you so much for listening. It's goodbye from me, Russ.
It's goodbye from me, Peter Coffee.
Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Listening to that drivel just made me feel nauseous. Maybe a spot of eyeball raking will make me feel a bit better. But which one shall I torture? I do enjoy Russ's screams, but Peter makes these wonderful gurgling noises when he's in pain. Decisions.